Well, welcome everybody. Good morning. Very exciting day today. We have no planned training whatsoever, which is nice because we've had weeks and weeks of it. Hopefully you guys have learned a lot the last couple of weeks. We had trainings on the new law regarding certain foreign nationals who can't buy in certain places. Then we had which I don't know, that's got a couple of weeks. I don't know if it's going to start on time or if it's going to start at all, but regardless, at least you've been educated on it now. And then we had the AI chat and the AI training, and that was wonderful. So what I did after that, I spent an embarrassing amount of hours after that playing with the Chat GPT, asking it to write me stuff and write me a plan for this and an advertisement for that. And one thing that you'll find productive is you can say and do it in 100 words or less. Otherwise, it will write you a novel for the simplest of questions. So, which is great. Better to have more information than not enough, but you can limit it as well. So it's really cool stuff. That's what I was just doing, is logging into that. Because we'll look at that a little bit later. Let's talk about the market. What are you guys seeing? This is where you guys have to participate. Daryl, you came in and you are not on mute, just so you know right off the bat. But since you're not already unmuted, no. Since you're already unmuted, let's hear what you're seeing out there.
Dang it. What am I seeing? I'm not seeing a whole lot because I'm not doing a whole lot of real estate now. I've got some other challenges. What I'm seeing in my neighborhood is the houses are still very slow selling. I'm trying to market a little bit, not a whole lot. Yeah, that's about it. I'm not seeing a huge movement. I'm not seeing prices really decrease that much either, which is a good thing. But I'm not seeing a whole lot of movement. Listings have went down in my neighborhood substantially from last year. But yeah, it's par for the course, I guess.
Okay. What else are you guys seeing? Anyone else?
I agree with what Daryl's saying. Seeing more of a neutral market right now, with listings staying on the market a little bit longer than what they have been, but prices still not dropping, and buyers and sellers kind of being on more equal footing to in the negotiations. The under 300 is still really competitive in my Orlando listings and in Tampa. It's pretty similar price points, and then the over, the $500,000-$600,000 listings are kind of taking their time and looking more like 2 months, 3 months on market before getting really good offers. I have a seller in St. Cloud, and they keep wanting to reduce the price because they have found another house. So hopefully we'll get down to the right market price for that. So yeah, that's just kind of what I'm seeing, just kind of more of a neutral market, which is nice. It's much calmer and a little bit easier to handle than crazy one way or the other. I'm getting listings. I got, some good listings right now, and phones ringing, with leads from them. So I think it's a pretty decent market to be in right now. I know some agents that didn't know how to work maybe over the last couple of years because it was easier might be finding themselves in a hard position. So I'm hearing from a lot of other agents that are struggling because they didn't really have a lot of marketing plan in place. So now's the time when you definitely have to have a strong marketing campaign and not just relying on just the MLS alone, the internet alone to sell your properties, but really a cross-channel marketing platform with mailing and social media ads and YouTube videos and things across the board. So that's what I'm seeing.
Awesome. I could not agree more. And I don't think I've seen a sustained neutral market for as long as this has been. And I think it's going to continue that way. And we are insulated from a lot of the countries in a buyer's market. We are insulated from that. I will tell you that buyer market is tougher than seller's market. And there's a reason for that. So a seller's market, seller's market, obviously sellers are super confident and super happy to be getting all this money. And the buyer's market, and the buyers are obviously always gung-ho and willing, or there wouldn't be a seller's market, right? So they're out there trying to buy. And in our most recent case, there were extremely low interest rates. So everybody was gung-ho on both sides. So real estate was flying. In this neutral market, I am hearing a lot more of you guys and asking about repair addendums and repairs and how should they be done and all this kind of stuff. There's lots of going back and forth between buyers and sellers. I'm seeing sellers are still confident that they're in a bit of a seller's market. Buyers are still confident that they're in a buyer's market because that's what they've heard from nationwide information, which doesn't all pertain to Florida. As you know, we have a higher demand than there is around the country. And so even Texas, I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and a guy in Texas, the San Antonio area, was talking about how he bought a year ago and his house is down a little bit, 5 to 10%. And he was talking to his brother who lived in the Jupiter area of Florida, and his house keeps going up and up. And if he said if he could get what Zillow said it's worth, he'd move tomorrow. But they were actually talking about how inaccurate Zillow is, and it was not a real estate podcast, but they were just talking about that. So very interesting stuff. But I want to talk to you about these numbers that kind of bear that out. New listings, about 5,500 new listings. Some people feeling froggy or increasing their prices. A pretty high percentage wise for this market to be almost 1,950. Price decrease, not surprising, almost 5,000. Almost as many price decreases as new listings. Back on the market, those are popping because you guys are fighting about everything. It is a bit of a fight in this neutral market. Oh, I want to tell you what's so bad about buyer's market. A buyer's market is bad because sellers are depressed and don't want to sell when it's down, and buyers think they're going to get the deal of a lifetime, especially after going through a seller's market. They just think they're going to get everything in their favor, and there is not. So in a seller's market, both sides are enthusiastic. In a buyer's market, only one side's enthusiastic. So it can be a very difficult market to navigate. A neutral market is fine, not the best. Obviously, a seller's market is the best, and you guys, like Angie just said, it's the easiest, and you guys just went through that. Okay, not that many expireds really. Stuff is still selling. 6,000 sales, more sales than new listings. Temporary off market doesn't really correspond to anything, except maybe some of those are, hey, I got to put a new roof on. I realized my last contract fell off and I got to put on a new roof, or I've got to, if we ever want to sell this thing, we're going to have to do something with these floors, or, stuff like that. You guys know why stuff goes temporarily off market. Lots of pending deals, a lot more pending than new, a lot more pending. If you put new and back on market together, that's about the number you get for pending. So that's good. Inventory is pretty low, guys. So that's what you're seeing out there. Inventory is pretty low, and that's what's propping up the market. There just isn't that many for people who want to buy right now. And if they're buying with these interest rates, they want to buy. There just isn't that much stuff out there for them. So that's what's keeping it. We've still got more buyers than sellers, and that's what's keeping the market puffed up a little bit where it is. I don't foresee a big what they call a correction coming up, unless the entire, which could happen, the entire economy really tanks. But so that's what we're seeing with the market. Any other thoughts on that?
Ryan, do you think that people will start raising the prices for summertime? I heard that in Miami that might be happening.
You would have already seen that. It's June 14th. People would be doing that in April and May.
Yeah.
School gets out at the end of May typically, and so people want to move right now.
Yeah.
If you're just putting it on the market right now, it's going to be, if it's a $500,000-$600,000 house, like Angie was saying, that you're still averaging 45, 60 days on market. Your kids are going to be back in school. School starts like August 10th here or something crazy.
Yeah.
School starts really early, still gets out the end of May, early June. And so people are, they keep adding holidays and stuff and planning for hurricane days and all that stuff. So that's what's going on with that. But so to answer that question, I think that's already been done.
Yeah.
It's just a busier time of year. I don't think your house sells for more in the summer. It just sells more quickly, and it's just the best time of year to sell. If I could choose the time of year to put my house on the market, it would be April probably, because that's when people, they've been holding out and they just want their kid to get out of school.
Right.
I want to get the other part of town. I just got a new job and it's an hour away from the house now, but I'm not pulling little Susie or Johnny out of school until the school year's over. I'm not going to move them somewhere else for the last month of school or 3 months of school. So whatever it is, but that's what they're waiting for. Any other questions on the market? That's a good question, Lisa. Yes, Vivian. I'm sorry, they got 2 people with hands raised. Go ahead, Viv. Oh, and one more, 3 people. Dwayne and 2. Viv, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry. I thought you muted me permanently, Ryan. So
I wish I could, Vivian. Not Vivian, anybody.
they're talking about inflation rate, going down this week. And we know that if OPEC does actually, hold back on production, gas prices are going to go up, blah, blah, blah. Could the economy help the interest rates start to drop just even a little bit to give people a little glimmer?
They could. If they don't raise it, that's a good sign. But that's not. They don't go hand in hand with the Fed rate. But it helps. I mean, it's kind of like saying, does a cough cause a tummy ache? No, but the fever or the flu causes both of them, and so they're not dependent on each other. They're kind of the same. There's kind of symptoms of the same disease, and that's inflation, really. And so inflation, gas prices going up, just adds to inflation as well, as everything else. So. Sorry, I had to mute somebody. So that's what we're seeing, and that's what we're going to continue to see, I believe. So I don't know. I'm not optimistic about rates coming down, but I don't know anything. Nobody does. If they do, you'll hear about it, because there's people out there who say they do. But
Yeah. Well, I think one of the reasons our sellers are reluctant is because they have no replacement exit strategies available to them, including the interest rate.
okay, but there is never, ever a sale that doesn't have some sort of obstacle to overcome, right? An objection. Remember the seller's market a year ago? They didn't have anywhere else to go then either. They couldn't even find a house then. Now they're worried they have to overpay for one. Back then they couldn't even find one to live in, right? So there's always going to be one. And when it becomes a buyer's market, their objection is going to be, it's a buyer's market. I'll just wait till it's a seller's market again, right? I mean, why would I sell now when I could wait, a couple of years and get 50 grand, 100 grand more for this place, whatever it is, right? So, I mean, there's always going to be objections to overcome, and you just got to, and I don't think the interest rate one is that hard because of the possibility of refinancing. What you actually pay for a house is a lot bigger deal than your interest rate. And I think it's important to know that, because that stays with you forever, right? The interest rate you pay on, but what you actually pay stays with you forever. So, because when you sell it, you still paid the money. So that stays with you forever. There's always going to be objections to overcome, Dave, and so we can always say whatever 6 months from now we'll have some other one that sellers are saying or buyers are saying, and we're going to have to overcome that as well. So there's no easy answer for that, other than what you pay for the house is more important. And I don't think the prices are going anywhere, but I'm just a guy. Carolina, good morning.
Good morning. So with that being said, what do you recommend? Well, I don't know if that I could negotiate, so I don't know how good this question is, but when you're doing a new construction and the price of a 3.2, let's say it's 369 in the next year, since we don't know what's going to happen with market interest rates, but let's say it does drop. Most contracts say that you got to bring the balance of whatever the appraised value is. What do you see in terms of that and the market now? If you do a contract and it's supposed to close in 6 to 9 months, but then the market crashes.
Aren't you, when you put a deposit on a new house that's going to be ready in 9 months to 12 months, aren't you really buying an option on that house? I mean, that's kind of what you're doing, and you're taking that risk. How many times have you guys over the last, it's Florida, over the last 25 years, had someone buy a new house, and by the time they closed on it, the builder would try to back them out of the deal because it's worth $100 grand more now. It's happened a ton over time. And so, yeah, will it ever be the case when you do it and it's worth less? And that's when they need to decide, hey, do I want to kiss this 10, 15, $20,000 goodbye or $50,000 goodbye, depending on what kind of house they're buying.
I have
Or do
that
I-
answer.
What's
They
that?
walk away from the 15 or 20 because it happened to me in 2007, 2008.
Of course,
People
of course.
walked away.
And
Yeah.
that was an extreme crash, and they were probably
Right.
paying 200 grand more than it was worth at that
Right,
time.
right.
It was very, very simple. But if that 369 house, if it appraises at 349 or 354, and they've got a $10,000, $15,000 deposit, do they walk away or not? Do they want the house? You guys, we look at it too much, and I just compared it. It's my fault because I just compared it to an option, which is kind of what it is. But we look at houses too much as investments, and we worry about the numbers too much. You guys, do they want the house or do they not want the house? Do they want to live there? Do they want to raise their kids there? Do they want to retire there? Whatever next phase of their life is, as Heidi said in here one day, what's next? What's next for you? Right? What's next for them in their life? Do you really want that? Are you really worried about that? Especially if it's just a dip, which everything's just a dip, right? I mean, the 2007, 8, we're back over those prices. Things recover eventually. So if someone had bought that house in 2007, 2008 for, $100,000 more than it was worth, but they wanted to raise their kids there, they're sitting here in 2023 and their kids are grown and their house is worth a lot more than they paid for it. So was it the best time to buy? No, of course. If they had bought in 2011, they'd be really happy, but it is what it is. So, will they back away? Will they not? I don't know. But that's
You have to pay to live
option.
somewhere. You have
Go
to
ahead,
pay.
Tammy.
You have to pay to live somewhere.
A house is an expense, right?
Right.
It's an absolute expense. A car is an expense. People think, oh, I'm going to buy this car. It's going to be a great. No, if you can limit your expense, that's great. If you can eventually, get something out of it, that's great. But it's kind of like, it's more like a whole life insurance where you're paying into it all the time. You may never see anything out of it, but it's something that's an expense.
Well, what you're saying is that most builders do not renegotiate.
Certainly not if they're on the winning end of that. No, they'd rather keep your 15,000 and sell it again, or they'd
Well,
rather sell it
not
to you
in
for
the
what
winning
you have in the
end,
contract.
if it drops the values.
They may if it drops 50,000 and they're only going to get to keep 15,000 of the money, then they might say, hey, well, we'll lower it to that, but typically they don't.
And Carolina, when talking to your buyers about this, it's the same as if they buy a resale, right? If you buy a resale, you close in 30 days and then the market drops and your home value goes down. It's the same difference, or the home value goes up. You're in the house that you want to be in. Is this the house you want to be in? Do you want to be in a resale house right now? Do you want to be in a new house? What's the house you want to be in? That's the conversation. And it's the same across the board. Market's going to always be changing, but do you plan on staying there for long enough for the market to come down and back up again or not? What is it you want to do with this house? What are your overall plans? And if your plans are to stay here for a while, you need to get into real estate. You need to buy something, buy what works for your family right now, and not go back and forth on, what's happening with the market, not try to time the market because, we can listen to all kinds of different people talking about it and they're all going to say different things. Nobody's exactly right. Know what's right for your family. And that's what our job is to help you to get.
Yeah, hence why I told them to move forward, but it's with all the unknowns. Of course, you always want to buy, you don't want to rent, that kind of stuff. It just gets crazy. That's why I love these meetings, because we talk about real stuff that's going on. Each and every one of us have different things that are going on, and it's like, okay, so what I knew last year and the year before and 5 years and 10 years, is it the same? It just changes. So thank you so much.
All right, Dwayne, you had a question?
Yeah, I was just you guys kind of answered it already. Just like you said, the challenges of the buyers, of asking them upfront what is their long-term goal. Just I've had a couple of buyers that were a little discouraged. Their process of thinking, they had a large amount to put down on a property, trying to get, either buy down the interest rate or trying to get their mortgage at a certain level, and only to realize that, putting this down payment down, this large down payment down, didn't get them, at the price level that they wanted to be at. And that could have been because of a couple of things, of course, the interest rate, the sales price of that particular home, not really the expectations of the buyer, just really not understanding, their down payment and if it will get them to the price that they want to as far as their payments. So this really educating the buyer is definitely something that I'm going to try to improve on and ask those probing questions, what their overall goals are. So when those objections do come up, I can kind of circle back around to them and tell them this is what you said you wanted to achieve, by purchasing this home in the first place.
Yeah, that's a real good point. But I think nothing gets that point across. Like, they've got a pre-qual, so they've got a price where they can go, and they've got an area that they want to go. Go show them what they can get for $400,000 in that zip code, or wherever they want to live. That best thing to do is put their eyeballs on it, and we always say, show them 8 houses, 5 good ones, and 3 dogs. Let them see some dogs. Let them see what, it kind of sets their expectations right and lets them appreciate a nice house. Otherwise,
Okay.
I mean, you've got them pre-qualified. You know what their payments are, what they can stomach. They can usually stomach a little more than they tell you once they start seeing some of these other places, right?
Okay.
If you're telling me that you've shown them something, they fell in love with a house and they can't afford it, they should have known that before. They should have had their pre-qual should have spelled out what their payments would be. You plug in the property taxes, their estimated property taxes and HOA of the kind of places where they want to live. And they kind of have a good idea of what they can afford to pay. But it shouldn't be a surprise at the end. It shouldn't be after you have it under contract and, oh my gosh, now they can't afford
No,
it.
it didn't get to contract. It's just.
Then they're sad. You're saying they're sad.
Yes,
They can't buy the kind of house
discouraged.
they want to buy. Yeah, well, yeah, aren't we all? So, so they can't buy the house they want to buy. So they need to be more realistic about what they can buy.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's the sad reality of what we do, and it would be the same if you were selling, cars or yachts or headphones or anything that you're selling. You can't get some people can't buy the ones as fancy as they want to buy.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the bottom line. It's heartbreaking sometimes, because you have your buyers come to you and they just have all these dreams. And because my personality is a dreamer as well, so we just dreaming together. But we need to close these transactions, right? So,
Yeah.
but it's just one of those things. I have to take off my normal personality and put on, the expectations of what my buyers, like you said, can buy for what they can afford. Yeah.
Dreams are great, but they're going to be living in a refrigerator box, and you're going to have no commission.
This is where you earn your fees and commissions.
Gotcha.
By being the voice of reason, by being the balance, the yin, the yang balancing, especially when you have a buyer and a seller at odds with each other. I just negotiated 2 closings. I'm still working on the second one as we speak, because even at the closing table, there's time to negotiate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just put on that practical, logical, rational hat and leave that sympathetic, empathetic one on the table for now.
You're going to end up being a glorified tour guide, and the toughest
Exactly.
part about sales, but the best word you can say, it's a very tough thing to do with your personality, Dwayne. The best word in sales is no. The best thing you can say to somebody is no.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. Just not going to work. Can I see that house? No.
If you keep
No.
dreaming, you're going to be dreaming you're going through the bank line with your
Exactly. Dreaming of that commission, right? And, yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
all really good points. Also, Ryan, what you were saying is great about like showing them what they do qualify for. Like, this is what you qualify for. Maybe it's a little shack in the middle of the woods, like, but this is it. And the same thing works in reverse too with listing appointments. I just did it the other day. When I was showing her the market comps of what the house is worth, she was really disappointed. And, I went back to what I had originally asked her before, and she told me again that what she wanted was $350 for her house. So I showed her in the neighborhood the sales for $350, This one has a new roof. This one has new floors. This one's been painted. This one has a bigger lot. This one has a pool. And I was like, so what do you think now? And then she's like, yeah, 300, you're right. And I'm like, yeah, like sometimes you have to show people what
Yes.
the price that they think their house is worth, what's really selling for that price, or when they're on the buyer side, what you get for that amount of money and what you need to do to get to the next point, right? Because a good mortgage lender will tell you, bring your credit score up to this, pay off this, save up this much money, and then you'll get to this buying price point. And then you could determine if that's how long that's going to take you, if it's worth it or not. If it's going to take you a year to do that, you might balance off and be in the same position to buy, right? Like you might not make any progress because of inflation in the market. So maybe it's better to buy a small starter home now, get in there, and then in a few years you sell that and you get into the house you really want. But yeah, convincing buyers that they don't just buy their dream home the first time around or even the second time around, it's really hard, especially, you know, people that maybe are raised by other people that are in their dream home and they think everybody just all of a sudden got their dream home. It's definitely a challenge that we all have to deal with, getting people realistic. It's fun. It's fun.
I love this part. This is, guys, we're getting into sales training and I absolutely love it because that's what you guys do. All of your license say salesperson on it. First license you got anyway, some of you brokers now, but first license you got said salesperson. And we get away from that. We try to sit here and talk about interest rates and this and that and the market and all this stuff. Go sell something. And you can't sell something to somebody who doesn't have a problem. There has to be a problem. There has to be something for you to solve, for you to sell. And they have a problem, right? So there has to be a problem. You have to solve it. You have to create some urgency to get them moving, and you have to be able to solve their problem with your product, which in this case is a home that actually fits their budget, right? So there's a lot of no. They got to know that they have a problem, right? So you got to let them, can I buy this house? You know, this. No, and a lot of people, another thing, Joanna, you know, they say in a lot of businesses that buyers are liars, right? They say that in the car business, they say it in other businesses, buyers are liars. They're going to tell you things that aren't true. And they told their lender things that aren't true, like they only wanted to pay $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month. That's all they really could afford to pay. They start looking at these houses and you'll see their eyes open up and they'll say, but honey, we could get this one. What would our payment be on that one? $3,400. I know we said we only wanted to go to $3,000, right? So all of a sudden they got $400 more a month that they didn't know they had, that you didn't know they had. They knew they had it, but you didn't know they had it and their lender didn't know they had it. So there are some things, but you've got to show them that. And that's got to be the things. Look, guys, this is in your price range. This, you know, your payment's going to be a little higher than what you wanted, though, right? So you've got to let them know this is what your payment gets you. So if you want to go a few hundred more, we can look at some other houses like the ones that you've been sending. Okay, there's got to be a problem. That's great. A salesperson, Dwayna, loves a problem. Loves it when people have a problem because now I can solve it for you. The hardest person to sell to is somebody that doesn't have any problems, right? So everybody's got to have a problem, and sometimes a lot of everybody in sales knows if something looks too easy and too good, those fall apart a lot of the times. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I got this client. I got this client that owns a waterfront house right here in like Clearwater Beach, like 1 block from the actual Gulf of Mexico. $1.7 million house is beautiful, and I'm trying to get his motivation to sell, and he just doesn't have one. Like. So it's like, it was a waste of my day of going out there to look at the house, even though it was a beautiful view. But it's like, come on, like some people, they don't have the motivation. They don't have a problem. They're happy and content. Then they're not our clients. We move on to the next one who needs us.
Where's he moving to?
He doesn't know. He doesn't want to move anywhere, really.
He doesn't
He
have
just
a
wanted
problem.
to talk to me, I think.
He doesn't need the money. He doesn't have a problem.
No, I've gotten pretty good at like phone sales and getting people to agree to appointment with me. And sometimes I'm like too good at it. They don't really want to sell anything. They just are like, okay, come over. I don't know. It's kind of backfiring on me a few times lately. I got to tone it down a little bit. So yeah, you know, he's like, come over and, you know, it's fine. I made a good day out of it, toured another house nearby and made some nice video content for YouTube. So, you know, it's fine. I make good use of it. But yeah, he talked to me for like 2 hours. He told me 1,000,001 stories, but really he doesn't know where he wants to be. So
I think I know what his problem was. So you solved it just by hanging out with him.
That's all he needed. He just wanted a friend. Yep. He just wanted someone to talk to for a couple hours, and it was fine. It was fun. It's sometimes part of the job, right? We can't win them all, but I'll keep following up with him. Maybe one day he'll sell his house and, you know,
absolutely
he likes me.
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
Yeah. You're too charming on the phone, I guess. Tammy, you were first with your hand up.
Have you guys ever watched Love It or List It? Love It or List It? one lady renovates the house and he has to sell them something to
Mhm.
try to get them. So he takes them to a more expensive house than what they can afford. And he's like, well, what do you think about this? And they're like, oh, we love it. He goes like, well, this is, $1.1 million and their budget's less, or it's $1.5 million and their budget's $1 million. So they see I don't know if that's the best strategy, but they see what the $1.5 million is the most beautiful house, but they can't afford that. So they start looking in their price range.
Yeah,
But
and I'm not suggesting.
Point that too is, you kind of get to the point with your time, which I used to always kind of like give my time away, but you kind of get to the point with your time that it's like you're wasting your time and you're kind of building maybe false hopes for people when you do that. Like looking at something that really is over their budget. So, you might have to be, I guess I'm probably fairly blunt about it or so. But I had a Zillow lead this week. I thought he might be off a little bit, but you never know. So you don't want to be judgmental. So it was a $950,000 house. So I go to Lake Nona. I get on the video. He's this big fat guy, which is okay, eating French fries on my video. And I'm like, okay, I don't really think he's okay, but I'm going to keep going. So I start videoing. And I never talk to Zillow about money, because those clients, I don't want to offend them. And I'm willing to give my time up on $1 million people. So I get out through the house. Oh, that is a really nice house. I get out to the back and I was going to go to the garage apartment. I'm like, so were you going to get a mortgage? Are you paying cash? He goes, well, I don't have a job. I'm like, you cannot afford this house. And when you do get a job, how much will you be making? He goes, I think he said 45,000. I go, well, you are way off, and you might be lucky if you can afford 300. And I like turned around. I mean, it wasn't super mean, and I don't think he was all there. So anyway, I got to see the $950 house. I got to preview it. So
But that's when you need to screenshot a picture of this guy eating French fries, and then you just like block out his eyes so that you conceal his identity, and then you share that on YouTube and Facebook and everywhere. The time I showed a house to a guy while he's eating French fries, and very underqualified buyer that eats French fries while he looks at $1 million houses.
Yeah.
And yeah, create a meme. Yeah, Liz, you're right. Like,
yes,
there's so much content you could do with that, and I'm sure you have tons of stories like
I was
that. you
so
could share.
shocked, but I kind of had a feeling. But I was like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, okay.
Tammy, you're not going to want to hear this, but that's not his fault.
What?
It's your fault you showed him that house. It's not his fault.
You're right, but
He's just a crazy person.
Pardon?
He's just a crazy person. You're
Yeah,
the one out
I
showing the house.
didn't screen the crazy person.
Right. Right. Okay. Vivian, I believe, was next. She is on my screen anyway. Did you have your hand up?
I actually need some help from, I need advice, maybe Daryl or I definitely Tammy or Angie. I'd like to do a couple of mailings. I'd like to know who you recommend that kind of does it all for me, because I really just don't know that I want to assemble it myself.
Mandy did a great one recently. I don't know if she is here. I don't know if she's listening to us though, or she's like working out or talking to a client or selling a house or something.
I'm here.
We can't tell because your camera's not on, so we don't know what you're doing. So she did a good one lately. Maybe she could share that. But then I also have some vendors that do stuff too, where they kind of plug and play and design it. But yeah, Mandy's was good from the tracking that she had on it.
Oh, okay. It's something I can share digitally as well as in print, Mandy.
I don't know digitally. I know it's very easy to use. So I use Corefact. If you don't know
What is that?
Corefact, Corefact.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, check out their website. It's really easy. If you have a listing already, it pulls all of your past listings already on there, and it's really easy to navigate. You just click on your listing and it automatically kind of like populates. So if you want like just listed postcards, or you want to do pending postcards, or just sold, whatever type of postcards you want, it's very, very easy to use. So that's why I did it. I upload my list. If I need to do any edits to the list, they do it for me. They're very responsive. So I highly recommend them.
And then when you do your mailing list, can you pick it out to non-resident owners and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, you can send them a list of whatever you want. Or they can, I think they charge you if they're pulling the list for you, but you know, you can send them whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
And
a spreadsheet?
what I also liked about CoreFact was they allow you to include a QR code. So when the sellers receive the postcard, they're able to scan that QR code, and then they're able to check their market value of their property. Obviously, you know, we're probably going to give them the most accurate, but when they go to your website, you get a notification that they check their value. So now you can connect with them, you can reach out to them. CoreFact will notify you once they have checked their value, and then they'll prompt you to send out a follow-up card, which is already made for you. So all you have to do is just send it to print, and they mail it out directly to the customer. And it's a really nice, like, thank you card for them checking their value and something else, and another call to action. But yeah, I like CoreFact.
Wise Pelican, Rita put Wise Pelican that she uses for hers. I just was playing around with Chat GPT, and it says, I said, design a postcard for my real estate business. It said, sure, I'd be happy to help you design a postcard for your real estate business. Please provide me with the necessary information, any specific details or preferences you had in mind. This may include your business name, logo, contact information, color scheme, any specific imagery or messaging you'd like to incorporate. So they'll do it for you too.
Does it give you pricing, Ryan?
No, it's just going to design it for you. It's free. It's Chat GPT. It's
But
AI.
then I have to go to a print house with it or something.
Oh yeah. Somebody,
Okay.
you have to mail it and stuff. They're not going to mail it for you.
Yeah. No, I was thinking of the opposite. Like I give them my address or my spreadsheet, whatever parameters, and
And they
then
do
I'm
all that
done.
stuff. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. There's lots of
You know
houses
who
for that.
also, you know who also does that? There was a title company you had, Heidi.
Yeah.
She would do that for you too. Is that First American Title? I
Yep.
forgot.
Yep.
Heidi Foster.
Yep.
She may be able to do that for you as well.
All right. Perfect. Lisa, you're next.
Hi there. I still feel like I'm a fairly new agent. I've only had a few closings. The one thing that's been happening to me is through my lead system, I'll have great conversations with clients. I'll give them information. I think it's going to be a good lead. And then after you've done all your due diligence with them and had many conversations with them, they ghost me. And I'm trying to understand, and I know I hear it happens, and I don't know, you know, how I don't understand why they ghost me. So any take on that?
Well, they're probably seeing other people while they're talking to you. And
Okay.
so, and a lot of times you'll hear this, and it's the hardest thing to hear, but everybody hears it. Lisa, thank you so much for all the time you spent with us. Even, you know, the 11 houses that you showed us. We actually found something on our own, though. We're going to be going forward.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They didn't find something on their own. They were talking to Daryl the whole time, and Daryl found them something. They didn't just drive by an open house and not mention you and buy something. I would recommend getting a little more concrete relationship with them through a buyer brokerage agreement. And I know you guys don't want to hear that. You guys are scared of it. You're scared of putting something in front of them to sign. Well, you tell them your mean old broker makes you do it before you spend time.
You know what? And that's correct, because I did do that with a recent buyer, and he stuck with me through the whole thing and didn't, you know, deviate.
If they won't sign that, they're not going to sign it. They're not going to buy a house with you.
Okay.
You guys will find that. You'll find that if they're not, typically speaking, I'm generalizing, there is an exception to every rule, but if they won't sign that, then they're not serious.
Okay.
But you make it clear to them. Now, I do a whole training on the buyer brokerage agreement. You make it clear to them that there is no house that Daryl can show them that you can't. You're a member of your local board of realtors, the National Association of Realtors, and you're a member of the MLS. There is no house that Daryl can show you that I can't show you. Right?
Okay. Yeah, it saddens me and shocks me too, because I get into knowing who they are and their personalities, and we talk about whether, you know, they're you know, I develop a relationship with them. So if they're into basketball and it's been the basketball season, you know, we'll communicate about that. And I'm thinking I'm building that rapport with them. And then boom, you know, ghosted.
Do you meet with them? I mean, have you met with them at that point? Or are they ghosting you before they've even gotten
This is pretty much before they meet me. It's all communication through emails.
You might want to say, let me get a house and go show them immediately and make the face-to-face connection.
Yeah, the problem with
Yes.
is with my lead system, I'm getting a lot of out-of-state buyers. So
Mm.
they're out of state. So that's
Then
kind
go
of
on, do a Google Meet with them like Ryan is doing with us right now.
okay.
Find another way, because Tammy's correct. There's nothing like that face to
Face
face.
to face.
You walking around with a video in $1 million house and wasting your time, blah, blah, blah. That's still a connection that you're making with that
Yes.
individual. So yeah.
Okay, all good tips. Thank you very much.
Yeah, like if they called you with a house in mind, you could say, you know, I can go do a video walkthrough for you, a live video walkthrough. You go do the live video walkthrough. You know, I don't know if that will help. And then you might
Tell them to hold the fries.
yeah,
So-
Yeah.
So Lisa, please, these are all nice tips and stuff, and no offense to everyone giving you these wonderful tips. Get a buyer brokerage agreement, get them pre-qualified, and get a buyer brokerage agreement. You get them, make sure they're serious. Out of state people are a lot of times just tire kickers. They just want to see
Okay.
what will it look like when I move to Florida in 5 years, you know, or whatever it is. So, or 2 years or 1 year, or even when the kids get out of school. But they've also talked to several people. Okay. So, and people don't understand this. Somebody asked about Zillow leads. Zoe asked about Zillow leads, and Tammy knows this. The biggest complaint that we get, and Tammy uses them, and Zoe, I'll, you know, she could tell you, you're welcome to talk to her anytime, but I know she gets business off of them. Obviously, that's why she does them. But Zillow leads. When you, any of these Zillow leads, Realtor.com leads, the ones you get through UpCity, the ones you get through Prime Street, look, if they're going on Zillow.com, they're going on Realtor.com, they're going on all these other places, they're looking for houses, right? If they're serious, and they don't just click on Tammy, they're going to click on a bunch of other things too, because they don't just find one house they like and click on Tammy's name and then Tammy's their new person, right?
Mhm.
They're going to click on a bunch. They don't say, oh, well, looks like this is our agent and this is going to be our house, you know, let's go to bed. They're going to keep their laptop out and they're going to keep looking at houses, and they're going to give lots of leads out. Each person becomes a lot of leads. If you don't answer in a timely, if you don't respond in a timely manner, if you don't respond with saying the right things, like the thing about I'm a member of this and this and this, there's no reason to work with anybody else. You don't have to point out Daryl, it can be anybody else. No reason to work with anybody else other than me. Then that if you respond in a timely manner, you get their attention. However you want to do that, there's different ways to get their attention and respond to them. But you let them know that you don't need to talk to all these other people, and they won't. And you guys have been on the receiving end of these with any kind of leads where you call them and they never answer. You're like, I know this person answers their phone occasionally. You leave them texts, you leave them voicemails, you know, stuff, they don't get back to you. Well, guess what? They're tired of hearing from realtors. They accidentally gave out 8 leads last night, and their phone won't stop ringing. And they've already talked to Tammy, and Tammy has secured their business or secured them, at least with a relationship. And she's explained to them that she can show them any house that they ever want to see. Right. And she's willing to go video for them, if she's willing to do this or that, or maybe they live here in town, whatever it is. So it's not necessarily good leads and bad leads. It's how you respond to them. Are you the first one to respond? And it might not be your fault. They might have done this 3 nights in a row, and the people from the first night did it, and they don't realize that they keep giving out leads. Right. And so they've either ignored your calls, or they've answered and said, if one more of you realtors calls me, I swear I'm going to change my phone number. Right. Or they've been rude to you and maybe not said those exact words. Well, that's why. So you're not just giving out one lead. If you're, you guys know this, you guys have looked for yoga pants to go to the gym, right? And you click on a few links, and Daryl, I know you have. You click on a few links, and you get all this stuff, right? All over your social media now, everybody's trying to sell you yoga pants, right? You try to buy a watch, you try to buy anything, or you just look at one. Oh, well, let me show you. You Google something to show somebody else something that. Or you Google a yacht to show, oh, this is the one that Steven Spielberg has. And you Google that yacht, and then now they're trying to sell you yachts on your social media, right? Because it's just a program. They don't know you. So it's the same with these people looking for houses. And they get inundated with not ads, they get inundated with calls, emails, all kinds of stuff, text, everything else. So just so you guys know, that's how the leads work. I forget what we were even talking about, but I know Zoe had that question and I wanted to get to that. But they all work, or Tammy wouldn't do them. Angie wouldn't do them. Mandy does lead. Everybody does some kind of leads, or they do some kind of advertising or something. Everything works different for everyone, which is why we're here. Those of you who are new, Zoe's new, Ms. Lucero's new. We're going to get to you in a second. Summer was here. She's new. This is what we talk about on these things, is what works for people and what doesn't. That's the beauty of the open forum part. Let me get to Ms. Lucero's question now.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I am one of the new ones. I just listened to you sharing stories about your buyers, and yes, they were very interesting. So I wanted to share mine, or something that I have seen happening to my people, I will say the Latinos. They like usually big houses, but and they actually work very hard to have some money for the down payment. But if they get to go to their homeland while searching for those houses, that is the end, because their budget is gone. They go there and they are always relatives or friends or someone who actually needs some help, and they share their money. It happened to me last year, for example. It happened twice. One went to Panama and decided to improve the family house, and he spent the whole $90,000 that he had. And the other went to Guatemala. Even when we talk about it and all that stuff, half of the money was gone and the dreams went out the window. And there is another thing that has to be considered when the Latino is your client, is that they like to go to open houses. And if they go to an open house and they like the house, they don't care about you, or they don't even think about you. They just believe that they didn't need an agent to actually offer for a property, and they do not actually accept the fact that there is an agent, and that was the seller's agent that they talked to, and she is the one selling the home. But that's the idea. They say, I didn't need them, I just could do that all by myself. So that's the story, and maybe something to take into consideration if you have a Hispanic client.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any thoughts on that? Anybody?
Yo también soy hispana y no estoy de acuerdo, perdón.
Okay, ¿cuál es su experiencia?
Bueno, pero so I'm from
What is your
Argentina.
experience?
Right. I'm from Argentina,
Uh-huh.
and people support each other's goals in another sense, so they don't deplete the resources of a family member trying to acquire their property. They're more likely to contribute, or try to at least not, again, cause them to lose money. So I haven't had that experience, no.
Oh, that's nice. So
And my
means
Puerto
that
Rican
you-
buyers are always very supportive of each other, from what I've seen.
Oh, don't, no. But
Yeah.
the other ones, believe me, the other ones, they work very hard, but the money is gone. And I know that every time we
Well,
go to
but that's
Colombia,
that
for
person.
example,
That's not a Hispanic thing. That's
Well,
because that person doesn't know how to say no to their family. Yeah.
but actually, believe me, these are conversations that I usually have with them, because that happens.
Maybe you could help them budget to help their family, but still meet their requirements and their goals. Say, can you set aside $25 a week and still help them? Something like that, right?
Hi, can you guys hear me? I hear you guys with your stories, and I bless, oh my God, all the experience that timeshare gave me, because it was cruel and everything. But you know what? As amiable as I am, I learned how to talk business to people when it's time to do so. And once I already have them face to face, then I get under their belt with their emotions, and I know when to pull the money and logical part, and then who to speak to, about whatever they feel, and making attached to whatever decision I need to guide them through. And sometimes it's not the emotions at all. Sometimes it's just the money and what's going on to create a problem. So I hear all of your stories, and behind me, I'm like putting my scenarios that life had put me in there For example, for the open house people, I did an open house in Kissimmee like 3 weeks ago, and this family from Indiana had a list of the open houses that they were going to, but they already had a property in mind that they wanted to see. And they tried to contact that agent directly. They were not successful doing it. The agent never replied back. And when I was putting the signs for the open house, the guy approached me and he's like, I'm going to see this house, but I want to see this house. And so the guy went in. I told him, come in to see this one, give me the address, the one that you want to see, and see if I can get you in. And got him there, and the guy had the cash, and now we're on the contract. And something, I mean, I guess is you first obviously want to meet people. For the relocating people, I'm very good with relocations because, like you said, you get a Zoom call, you show them how, why they should work with me and why there's nobody else. I never do buyer's agreement, but you know what? People, after they meet me and they see either knowledge or the attitude, how am I going to protect them? How am I going to work for you? How am I going to make this happen? I hear them out and I use that against them later to sell them. And all these things are necessary. So timeshare, great training.
I love that. I love that. And I love timeshare people because they can sell. And that's where a lot of that sales training comes from, the creating the problem, the urgency to solve the problem. Liz is talking about using it against them later, which is boxing them, which is exactly that's what they do at the car dealership. And when they say, so aside from the payments, or any other reason you wouldn't buy this car today? And you say, oh no, you can get it under $480. And they're laughing on the inside if they go back to pretend to talk to their manager because they already knew they could get it under $480, right? And so they come back out and say, oh man, it was rough back there. Did I get hit? Did I get beat up a little bit? Blah, 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 but I fought for you and I got you done. Look, we got you at $479.95 a month, blah, 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 right? It's smoke and mirrors, right? But I love that stuff because it cracks me up. And I know it when they say, is there any other reason you wouldn't drive out with this car today? They boxed you in because now they're gonna make you a big fat liar if you say you got it under 480. I didn't think you could do that. I wasn't really ready to buy this car today. So that's what she's talking about, using it against you later, which is great. But the best part of that story is that Lizette was out working. She was out doing something. I guarantee you, if she had been at the beach that day or laying by the pool or sitting in her underwear watching TV, nobody was going to knock on her door and say, can you show me this house, right? This other house that's not even the one that you're having the open house in, right? So that is the beauty of that story to me. Activity breeds success, okay? It's not timeshare anymore. They don't bring you customers to you. You have to go out and find customers. And activity breeds success. If you're out doing something, I've told you guys this story a million times about Ray, who was out walking door to door in a Popka in the heat, like this time of year, walking door to door in the morning, stopped wearing his suit and tie and standing back. He was from Keller Williams, standing back 15 feet with his name tag on and all this stuff. And on his way home, he stopped at McDonald's. He was a struggling new agent. He stopped at McDonald's on the way home and sold a house in line at McDonald's. Somebody came up and talked to it. They saw a professional looking guy with a name tag on and talked to him about the real estate market and said, my wife and I were just arguing about how much we think our house is worth. He sold it. Okay. So, but again, if he is in this business, it's the best business in the world if you're good at it, worst business in the world if you're bad at it. And you get paralyzed, you sit around the house and your bills keep coming in. And you're like, what do I do? What can I do? That's why a lot of you are here today. Get out there and walk door to door, do an open house or do whatever. Drive to all the new builds in your neighborhood or in whatever area you want to farm. Drive there. Today's Wednesday. Drive this afternoon and tomorrow and Friday morning and go visit every one of the new people at Pulte, at Beezer, at this, at that, whatever, Lennar. Get to know those people, see how many lots they have left, what they are, take some videos, video the lots that are available, video some of the houses that are under construction, and this is the Pelican model and blah, blah, blah. Get out there and do something and put that stuff on your social media. Otherwise, sit around and starve. Timid salespeople have skinny kids. You've got to do something. Lazy salespeople have skinny kids too. You got to do something or you're just going to struggle and starve. and you're going to have to go back to teaching school or fighting fire or whatever you did before you got your real estate license and you had this dream of becoming a realtor, because you see people who are successful and you see that they're having the time of their lives, and they can afford to go show $1 million houses to guys eating French fries and they're having a blast, right? And they have a great story from it because they're successful, because they work hard, right? Guys, Tammy's very successful. Tammy works very hard. She seems like she's, whatever, blah, blah, blah. She works very, very hard. She joins teams and takes leads from people and pays them percentages and does all kinds of stuff that you guys wouldn't imagine that somebody like Tammy would have to do. And she doesn't have to. She does it to be successful. And she is. All right. So you guys got to get out there and do stuff. And that's a great story, Liz. And I know that story is true because I've heard it the whole time it's been going on. And that's wonderful. So
can I piggyback one quick thing on that, Ryan? On Sunday, I had to go to the office to get a fax and take care of some stuff. Who's in there working? Carissa Lawhon.
Yes, she does pretty well, and she works hard. And probably sometimes guys just want to get out of the house, So I'm not saying that's her case. I'm just saying sometimes we all do, right? Lisa Sager, you have your hand up as well. All right. I want to talk to you guys about.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
I thought that might be the case. I thought that might be the case when I saw it go up. I thought it's probably an accident. All right. We're going to go to screen share. You can put it down if you want. All right. Let me go to this and I wanted to go. Let me do the chat real quick first. What are you guys seeing there? Are you guys seeing a bunch of, well, no, you're not seeing anything. I didn't share it, did I? Oh, here it comes. Okay. That's perfect. That's what I want you to see. Okay. Let's go back up here. I want to go up to chat, cover some things because we've been doing it. Carolina. All right. We talked about that. Barbara, when we were talking about the market, she's seeing buyers that have purchased the past 18 months. New home purchases lost value on average of 50,000 and resale have not lost value. That makes a lot of sense. Elsa, Lennar announcing new and increased commissions across Central Florida up to 5% this month for new homes. Price cut in many locations. I promise you, Elsa is one of our agents. She's new. Welcome, Elsa. She is not a Lennar agent. It sounds like she is, but she's not. But that's good to know that Lennar is offering more money. I think Lennar is one of the ones that treated us pretty well when it was a seller's market too, but I'm not sure. Zoe,
No, they didn't. They did not.
They treated us poorly. Were they the ones doing 0.75% and stuff like that?
Yes, or
1%.
Yes. And this commission that they just emailed out this morning, you got the same email. It's not on all houses and it's not on all communities. They have some inventory and they have some ones that aren't selling. So now they're willing, they're willing to pay us to get back to work for them. And it's bull.
Actually, I spoke to
Lennar
yesterday because I'm writing a contract with them. And they're still paying 4% to international buyers, which is what I'm getting with this buyer that we're getting into a contract. But on the other communities, they're lower their commission to 2%. Some of the other ones that are not selling at all on their inventory homes they have, that's a 5%.
Okay. So they're running like a garage sale. They're just sitting out there and seeing what's selling and what's not and lowering prices and lower. Yeah. They're okay. Sometimes they need you. Sometimes they don't. Some of you guys can afford to write them off because you feel insulted about how they treated you when the market was a seller's market. Other of you might enjoy 5% if you can talk somebody into buying a house nobody wants. So it's up to you. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with those houses. They're probably just in areas or designs that are something unique about them. But you guys decide what to do. Prospects postcards. Vivian, that was for you from Lisa. Like to make your own designs through Canva, print cheap through Staples. Okay, so there's different ways to do it. Daryl says Prospect Plus, Business Catfish. They list with a friend. Oh, that's something different. That is not a business. Do not look up Business Catfish. Place for postcards. Core fact. You get all that. How about the Denver Nuggets? Congratulations to the Nuggets. I don't know if that's a great opener, George, with anyone who's not from Denver. Most people are going to say, "What are you talking about?" Show them with different areas, Zoe. Okay. All right. sorry about that. Now let's look at the screen share that I did, if you don't mind. This is great. So I just typed in here, I typed about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 12 words, and they typed 1 million, but I said, create a step-by-step video marketing plan for my real estate business. And look what they did. It's fantastic. I can be more or less specific if I want to. I can do all kinds of stuff in here. Daryl, you wrote us a very nice, all of you guys, a lot of you guys have written us some very nice testimonials I appreciate for the brokerage. But Daryl wrote us a very nice one about how he can work 30% less and make the same amount of money working here. Assuming he had a 30% commission split wherever he was before, you actually have to work 42% harder and more to make the same that you would at 70%, which this thing told me the other day. I played around with it for a long time, and like I said, an embarrassingly amount of time I got in a rabbit hole with it, and it's wonderful. It's really good for your business. You can ask it to do just about anything, and it'll give you all kinds of information.
And I told you what I did, right?
What's that?
I totally copy and pasted exactly your question to write a review, and I put it on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Exactly how you wrote it out.
Yes.
And it came back with exactly what I needed to say back.
Yes, it did. That was funny. So Daryl, I forgot that you did that. Yes, Daryl wrote me back and said, "This is what ChatGPT says. This is my testimonial from ChatGPT." And he's like, "It's great. It's perfect." So it was great. He took the questions that I asked and put them into that. That was wonderful. Yeah, that was great. I remember that.
Ryan, I wanted to leave an also review, but I couldn't find the place where to leave it. I went to the website.
Send it back to us. We'll put it on our Instagram and stuff like that. Send it back to us. Send it to Michelle and me.
To Michelle, to where? Where is Michelle? An email or text?
Yeah, her email. Yeah, I copied her on the email to you.
Okay.
Michelle Machado.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? So anyway, this AI thing is phenomenal. ChatGPT. This is the free version. You can pay $20 a month if you want to. It does a few more things, and you never have like a too busy of a time. But I haven't run into any problem. This is the free version.
On the phone and on your computer, you can add it. I tried on my phone, but
okay, so they have an app now for Apple. I don't think they have one for Android yet, but they have one for Apple. I've heard it's not that great. It can't do as much stuff, and it's not that great. But the one on the computer, the desktop is wonderful. Or laptop is wonderful.
They said to go into Safari. I'm not an Apple person, but they said to go into Safari and go in through the internet that way to do it from your phone.
Yeah. Yep. It's chat.openai.com. And you can
I also
use
use Bard. I also use Bard AI because it uses Google instead of Bing. So it's a much better search. We learned that with our thing last week.
Yeah.
I just did his yesterday. They had another one, and he actually said that Bard was not as good. He did a test, and Bard was not as good as the other.
Okay, so Bard is behind. They're just behind. He's also got add-ons and stuff like that. You probably saw yesterday, Tammy.
Yeah.
They've got a bunch of add-ons and those things that he was showing. They're not just called add-ons. What are they called? I don't remember, but he's got a bunch of those.
Extensions?
Something like that. But they update and they get you information more recent than 2021 by doing some of those. I forget what they're called. They're apps for your computer. But they are plugins. That's what they are. Yeah, so the plugins get you. Thank you, Elsa. The plugins get you the same kind of information, all that stuff. So you can plug in all kinds of stuff. But yeah, the Bard is chasing OpenAI, Daryl. That's why they're a little bit behind. But Bard is Google's version of it, and so OpenAI is using the other one.
Bing.
Bing. Yes, Bing. They're using Bing. So it's right now. I think the AI is ahead on OpenAI, but the search might be ahead on Bard, and then we'll see what goes. But the guy has to change his presentation every week because that's how fast things are moving in that business. It's crazy. So won't be long before we all work for the machines. What else can we talk about here? Guys, get on here and play with this. Seriously, this open, I gave you guys homework. I don't know if you even saw it in the email, but you didn't do it. So
I did it.
what did you play around with? Tell us something that you guys played around with. Tell us your story.
Yeah. So I have a new listing now, and they have a reverse mortgage on the house. So the daughter inherited it, and the mom had a reverse mortgage. The mom passed away, so now they need to sell the house. And I sold a house like this before a couple years ago, but it's been a while, and I think I only did like one. So I was like, I need to learn more about this. So I watched some videos on YouTube and stuff. And then when I got your email yesterday, I was like, oh, let me ask ChatGPT what they think. So I asked them, and then I was thinking I should share more information about this on like my social media sites and things like that, because I was finding some really good YouTube videos from other realtors. So I decided to, want to share a little bit more about this process. So I asked ChatGPT to write me an article in 100 words or less with the steps to sell a home with a reverse mortgage. So the steps to sell a home with a reverse mortgage in it. You want me to read it to you? It's 100 words or less.
Yeah, go ahead.
Selling a home with a reverse mortgage involves a few key steps. First, contact the loan servicer to determine the outstanding balance and any obligations associated with the reverse mortgage. Engage a real estate agent experienced in reverse mortgages who can guide you through the process. Next, list the home for sale, ensuring it is properly marketed to attract potential buyers. Once an offer is received, work with the buyer's agent and the loan servicer to initiate the payoff process. Finally, complete the necessary paperwork and coordinate with the closing agent to finalize the sale. Remember to consult professionals for personalized advice during each stage of the process. I like it.
Great.
So I'm gonna gear a little bit more towards, a real estate agent talk. So I'm not going to say they need to work with the buyer's agent. They need to work with me, who will work with the buyer's agent. But yeah, I'm going to kind of just change that.
If you have any doubt about it beyond the mortgage, you could probably convince somebody that you work with in title to give you a good, either a deal where you pay them at closing for the title search up front, because it may not just be the mortgage lien at that point.
That's true. There are other things to consider when it's an inherited house. Yeah, absolutely. I can ask ChatGPT the things to consider when selling an inherited house, and I bet they'll have me a long list too.
Well, enjoy that they didn't give you all those answers, because that's something that we get to actually provide and be of service to somebody that a service can't tell you like that. If you look at your screen, I just wrote 5 words: explain FIRPTA to a seller, and obviously it wrote 1,000 words here about all. They did it in Q&A format. So if I do this and I don't like that, I can hit regenerate response. Let's see what they do this time. Okay, not Q&A. Okay, you guys see? I don't know if you could tell that. Still very wordy. And this is probably not something I can cut down to 150 words or less or whatever, but this is the kind of stuff that you guys can do if you want to answer and all correctly stuff. Now, there are some things that are not, you do need to review it to make sure it's correct. This one I'm sure is going to be the correct. I'm going to say this is the same. I don't want to train it anything yet, really. So I'm going to say it's the same, but you can train it to say this is better, this is worse, this is the same. So I'm just going to say it's the same. But you can make it, to, let me see, explain FIRPTA in 200 words. Yes. So that'll be generating right now. There you go. Well, there you go. All right. I don't know why you'd want to do that. If somebody has a question about FIRPTA, you go ahead and give them that whole big first response. Yeah, Tammy.
Okay, I'm not muted. I did number one, I did one to give me the steps after you go under contract that a buyer has to do, just kind of give them familiarized. And then I did create an itinerary for me for London for like a 7-day trip with hotels and the pricing. And it gave me like a whole itinerary for that.
Well,
like instead of calling a travel agent, I was kind of like, oh, let me see what they could do.
I wonder what all goes into that. That's pretty cool just to do it. I would still call it a travel agent, but it's pretty cool just to do it. Yeah. I don't know if they're comparing rates, or if they're just like, or, just like if you go on to a hotel site, hotels.com, they're going to sort by the best hotel, the highest rated hotel, or the best value, or the best whatever. So, I mean, but that's pretty cool. That's really cool. That's a great use for it. That's funny. It won't be long until they do all that stuff for you.
I have used ChatGPT for emails, which obviously for me, it's a huge help. Obviously, when I write an email, yeah, I can speak English, but obviously it's not the same when you have to do the whole entire thing in a proper explanation and grammar and all that. So for real estate, for title companies, for everything I need to do, offers, counter offers, everything, I've been using ChatGPT, and it's been super helpful, and I look like really professional. I love it.
That's great to use it for that. I'm just having it explain FERPTA in German right now. So you can send this to your German clients. But I don't know why German, I just thought of that. But yeah, you can use it for anything like that. If I wanted to write to a German seller and explain FERPTA to them, I can do it that easily.
I never thought about using AI for concierge. That's a great thing, Tammy.
Concierge, what do you mean?
Like
Concierge,
yourself.
somebody to do your travel arrangements.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And your shipping and
Yeah.
Everything a concierge does at a fancy hotel.
Right,
That's
right.
cool. That's very cool. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, guys. Any other questions? Or I do try to keep this real estate related, but this is fascinating stuff. Is there any other questions or comments about today's topics? Or
I have a last comment. The greater we look at this technology, as we can see, pretty much it's doing everything that we do. And very soon buyers will use this to create an offer to a seller and all that, and we're going to be less needed. This is great, but it's also exponentially taking us out of the picture. And I cannot stress enough where we're heading when everything is digital, and why we need to understand blockchain technology. And there is a meeting for Web3 real estate going on here in Orlando tomorrow. And so if anybody's interested, the CEO of the company who does the platform, the Web3 platform, and tokenization and everything related to the future of real estate, which is not that much of a future with this technology, let me know. I'll send you all the details.
I disagree. People still need their hand held. They need to dream and hope and suffer. And I think the people aspect of our profession is not going to die that easily.
No, I don't think she means that the people aren't going to be necessary. I think she means people need to understand the new technology, and your value as a hand holder is going to be a different kind of hand holding. They'll always need hand holders to some degree. They'll never just be able to, I can't type in here, find me a seller who will take, this amount for their house and do the inspection and all that. They can't do all that. But there are things where inspections will be done. Houses will eventually be, properties will be NFTs that already have inspections and appraisals and everything done on them. It's interesting where the business is going. And I don't understand nearly as much as Liz does and the people that she's going to be meeting. Liz, put that on our Facebook page if you haven't already, please.
And have you noticed all the buyers out there, all the commercials of the buyers that want to pay cash, want to pay low cash and everything, they're gone. Remember TV had all those commercials, 2 years ago? I can't remember all the names, but they were on the news, they were on...
They can't compete.
Paying cash
everywhere, and they're gone.
Giving them a cash offer on their house when they sell it. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the one they
Like
had
Chicken Door and you're
I don't know. Something just went in my mind right now, and I'm like, what happened to all those commercials? Everybody was out there buying houses for cash.
Yeah,
all the big companies.
They'll still send you an occasional email and stuff, but they've laid off a bunch of people.
Yeah, totally gone. It's just something popped up in my mind right now.
I think their margin's just not there.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have that automatic appreciation of the seller's market. It keeps going up and up. I mean, you could not do anything to a house and make 50 grand in a month. you know, in some of these houses. All right, guys. Thank you very much for coming in. Anybody need anything else before we go? Any other questions? I can only see a few of you, but any other questions or comments?
Ryan, did you put the Chat GPT on the email, the link, or where did you put the information?
Oh, I'm not the keeper of the information. I'm happy to put it in I wish I was the keeper of the information.
Okay.
Let me put it here. I'd be selling it to you right now. I'll just tell you where I am right now. If you just Google Chat GPT is all I did. I do it every time.
That's what I did. I didn't know that was there.
It should take you to chat.openai.com.
Yep.
That's all you can do.
That's
And make an
right.
account. It's a freebie.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that we have our own particular account. Okay.
No, you make your own in there.
Okay.
No, and there's no, we look to try to get like a corporate account for everybody in our office. Carissa absolutely loves it. To try to get a corporate account for it. It's just $20 a person. Doesn't matter what you're doing.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I mean, I guess you could share your password or whatever, but I don't know. I wouldn't try that. They're smarter than we are. So I don't know.
And it's free, but you can upgrade the version to a paid. So you can
for $20 a month.
Yeah, you just sign on with your email and a password, and then you're in, and you log in every time.
I mean, it can explain German and FERPTA for free. So FERPTA and German for free. So I don't know what else I need. But occasionally there will be a time where you come on and it's slow or it's not working because it's too crowded. And because they give the $20 a month people priority. But I don't think it does. And you can look at the difference. It's on the front page what the difference is between the two. So one thing we did is we started, one thing you can do is share link with, oh, Daryl, I'm going to do this because this is what I had done. Here goes, Daryl. Let me share. All right, Daryl, this is what we talked about. To determine how much more commission you need to generate a 30% split. Oh, sorry, there it goes. It's coming on. To determine how much more commission you need to generate a 30% split compared to 100% commission brokerage, because I wrote it there. My brokerage keeps 30% of my commission. If I want to take home 100,000, how much more do I need to generate than I would at 100% commission brokerage? To determine how much more, blah, blah, blah. So they did all the math, and it's 42% more. 100, you'd have to, here you have to make 100,000 to make 100,000. There you'd have to make 100, you have to generate $142,857 to net 100,000 after the 30% split. So that was the math. So you'd actually have to work 42.8% harder to make the same amount of money no matter if you're making 50,000, 100,000, 300,000, whatever it is, 42% harder at 30% commission. Just the way math works. So there you go. So I looked at all kinds of, and I did the same thing with 20%, where you only have to, that was easy math. You only have to work 25% harder at 20%. So that's that. But I saw, so the point was that we were sharing this. I was sharing this with Carissa and Michelle, the marketing coordinator. We were sharing this thread so we could go back and forth and share stuff on it. So it's kind of cool. You can do that with other people. You can collaborate by saving it, and then you can send a link. See, it says share a link to this chat. So I could share this link with whomever. And you can see some of the stuff I was doing up here. I was just going on and on and on. So I was writing letters. I was doing all kinds of stuff. I have them do it funny. They'll do funny stuff. They'll do whatever you want. If you want them to write something clever for you, like a marketing piece. So it's pretty cool. That's it. That thread is annoyingly long because it goes on and on and on and on stuff I was doing, wasting time. So, all right, guys, if there's any other questions or comments, I am here. All right, there's not. You guys look great. Great to see everybody today. We'll see you next week. Angie has promised the presentation of a lifetime. She said nothing like that. I just put that pressure on her. But it's going to be great. Her open house presentation will be great. Thank you, Angie, for that. And we'll see you guys all next week. Take care, everybody.